Hey guys, this is Owen Productions, aka Nano4673, and I am back in Lake of Voices Part 2. Yes, we are back with the horror, the mystery, the possibility of death and dismemberment. It is very jolly, and I am looking forward to seeing where it goes. Water sip. I forgot to take a sip of water before starting the recording. Professionalism is not something I do, apparently. I test the recording and the sound, but I don't actually take the water sip I'd been planning to take. It's great. Anyway, I think we're just gonna continue without any further ado or intro. I just read this part, didn't read that when I ended the video last time, and I guess that means shit is going to be going down, which, great. Don't remember the voices very well, because it's been, well, not long, but a little bit, so I'm gonna have to try my best. I'm probably gonna get everybody killed. Like, that's just a given, isn't it? After some time, I noticed Margaret isn't keeping up with the guide as much as she was before. I realized it's because the guide has increased his pace. Margaret begins to jog in an effort to keep up with him, and Bemel and I do the same. Despite this, the guide keeps getting further away. That's actually, I was thinking of it, and that Bemel reminded me of someone, and then I realized it was like half his look, half his name reminded me a bit of Belf from Area X, so that was like a gigantic nostalgia throwback. Also regretting choosing him as my romantical partner a little bit after getting to know Margaret more. Margaret, I kind of like her better, but she's really cute. She looks like a blonde Hermione Granger. We go faster and faster until suddenly we're sprinting across the slick wooden boards. Figures in the dark fog fly past us at a blur, and it occurs to me that brandishing paths in the bridge appear to be sinking. I try hard to swallow my rising panic. The guide shouts something, but is drowned out by the frantic pounding of our footsteps. I'm trying to piece together what he said. Don't stop. Turn. When he takes a masterfully sharp right down a different path, using his own momentum on the sleek wood to slide in the new direction with no loss of speed. Margaret must not have worked out the warning either, as she's completely caught off guard by the guide's changing course. She runs straight ahead him, past the turn, continues down the path we've been following up until now. She clumsily begins to halt her momentum down the wrong bridge. Safe's coming. We're safe's coming again. I don't care. Oh my god. She's gonna die. We're all gonna die. I'm terrible at keeping people alive. Then I come upon the fork. Turn. I make a hard turn, following the guide and leaving Margaret. Oh, I should have stopped. I should have stopped and helped Margaret. No. I don't want her to die. Bemel's footsteps stay as loud as they were before. He's made the turn, as close behind me as ever. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Margaret turn. Oh, she's gonna die. Oh no. Try and turn around and try to come back to us, only to have the bridge in front of her fall away. I slow down for a breath, feeling the impulse to turn back but ignore it. There's no time. Margaret can make the jump, and then she'll rejoin us. She won't. She's gonna die. I keep my eyes glued to the guide's back, ears perked for Margaret's footsteps approaching behind us. And then I hear it. A scream. Oh, I can't leave her, but am I gonna die as well then? Is Bemel gonna die then? I know I can't save everybody because I've heard that I can't, but I have to. I have to at least try. Maybe I should go back. Oh no. I whip around, sliding to a stop. Margaret is sinking. The bridge she's on is sinking into the water. She's disappearing. She didn't jump. What are you doing? Margaret's head shoots up, her face drained of all color. Jump! She stumbles near the edge of the bridge, staring at the placid water of the lake. Even from a distance, I can see her shaking. I can't say if it's from the bridge's descent or her own fear. She barely seems to remain standing. I swallow painfully. Oh. Margaret bends and tries to jump. She curves in a small arc, achieving more height than she should, then lands directly in the lake with a muted splash. No! Bemel starts beside me, but I grab his hand and pull. We start running again, leaving Margaret flailing in the water behind us. No! Oh God, no! No. I'm gonna go back and see if I can save her. I'm just gonna see. I'm just gonna see if it's possible. And if not, we're just gonna have to leave her, but like... Alright, let's just wait. Let's just wait and see if I can save her. I keep straight on ahead, not making an attempt to go in the correct direction. Bemel seems to fumble slightly, but stays close behind me, and in the light I inwardly apologize. I come upon Margaret, who nearly runs into me in her effort to turn around. Her face twists at the sight. Why are you... I ignore her and move to face the other way. The path we came from is disappearing into the water. It's sinking. We have to jump. What? Margaret holds up her hands, but I grab her and spin her towards the path to guide us on. Go, we'll catch up. But... Bemel and I will have to jump together. He needs the light, now move. I practically shove her, and without any further hesitation, she takes a leap. She makes it just past the edge of the bridge, knee buckling as she lands, but she's soon back on her feet, holding her lantern out towards me. She beams with pride. I gesture down the bridge to the guide's rapidly fading light. Margaret slowly nods, and then runs after him. Here. I offer Bemel my hand, tightening my grip on the lantern. Bemel accepts the offer, giving it a brief squeeze. A tight smile plasters itself across my face as I try to calculate the distance between our bridge and the other. The ground starts to shake more. Is the mic still working? I think it is. Oh, this is gonna end badly. Jump! We dash to the bridge's edge and leap. Cold air rushes past my face, winding its fingers into my hair. For an instant, I think I see something moving under the surface of the water. Then we land, hard on the wooden bridge. Bemel lets out a sigh of relief as we both creakily get... Excuse me. Fully back on our feet. He gently runs a thumb over the top of my hand before he releases it. There's a clear sense of affection to it. Stay close. We need to run. I'll be right behind you. I take off, not bothering to ensure Bemel is staying true to his word. I know he'll follow. The guide's fading light bounces in the distance, a clear signal that he's still running. I focus everything I have on catching up. Slowly, we begin to close the distance. Oh my god, did we save Margaret? As the night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. Oh my god, we saved Margaret. Oh, I'm so happy. Hope that's not gonna have consequences later. Oh, I don't know why I play visual novels. I can't deal with choices. Why is this a thing? Why is this my entire channel? Okay, let's take that one later. Existential crisis for another day. As the night wears on, our strength rapidly fades. Even my stamina is being challenged. I can't imagine what it must be like for Margaret. She's holding her side as she runs, clearly cramping from the exercise. How much longer will this last? We have to rest sometime. Almost as if in response to my thought, the guide abruptly halts. I skid to a stop as well, sliding on the surface of the wood. This is dangerous, like... It doesn't look like it, because it's a drawing and the scale, obviously, is weird when it's a background and it's on a computer screen, but like... Have you ever walked on like a pier like that? Like where the wood is wet and it's not very wide. It looks wide, but it's not. There's not a lot of room. And then imagine that the wood is really wet as well and like slippery. You could fall in so easily, and these people are running full speed. That must be terrifying. Yikes. Glad I thought of that. Why did we stop? Bemel's voice is tired, but his guard is up. The guide doesn't answer, just stares at something slightly out of view. I step up to join him, following his gaze further down the path. Oh hey, it's a person. There's a curled up little ball, illuminated by the lantern's light. Cowers a person. What? There! Curled up in a little ball, illuminated by the lantern's light cowers a person. I thought it was a lady. Whoops. His hands gripped his head as he rocks from side to side, mumbling incoherently. It's a man. I'm sorry. I just couldn't, please, I'm sorry. I'm stuck with an array of questions. What is going on? Why would he wander onto these bridges on his own? Well, he probably wasn't on his own, and now he is, so. Did he make it this far by himself? Were there others with him? If that's somehow the case, I can't blame him from the state of shock he's in. I am slurring my words. The man stops mumbling. He glances above him, seemingly only just now having the strength to lift his head. His expression, the deepest sadness, along with the clear markings of terror, scrawled across his face. I stare at him in shock, not sure what to do. Leave him. I snap my eyes away from the man, and instead to the guide's cold, implacable face. No, we can't just leave him here. We managed fine enough already, and these creatures will probably pluck him away as soon as we're gone. Without light, it's certain he'll die. He won't make it regardless. The guide turns to look at us, his eyes seeming to glow from the closeness of his lantern. For the first time, I feel uncomfortable in his presence. Whoever shelters him will only risk dragging themselves down with him. Leave him. I glance at the others. Bemel is outraged, but Margaret is staring at the man with something like fear. She's uneasy, but she doesn't voice her concerns. If we can save the dude, we will save the dude. We saved Margaret. I didn't think that would be possible. I thought I'd have to sacrifice one of the others to do it. I thought Mel was gonna die if I didn't, but he didn't. But what if that's the case now? This is definitely a thing where it's like, Bemel's probably gonna die. That's why we save Scum. We're gonna try. I'm trying to think of some kind of compromise when the guide speaks again, his voice cutting. If the man comes, then whoever's shielding him will have to remain at a distance from the rest of the group, far enough that you can't see me, just my light. That's how you will travel across the bridges. I didn't agree to lead this man, and I won't. If you ask me to, I will leave you all behind. Rude? Adrenaline surges through my veins and I tense up. It's a painful reminder that the guide isn't here to save our lives, but merely to show us the way. We're on our own. Margaret, Bemel, and I frantically share more looks between each other, trying to communicate without words. None of us have a desire to speak and be the first to make the choice. But look at the dude! Poor dear! The man is standing now, though still hunched, with his arms wrapped around himself, as if expecting a blow. He stares at the ground rather than at us. Because of this, I'm having trouble reading his face. What exactly happened to him? Are you well, stranger? Do you know where you are and why you're here? He glances up, not at me, but towards me, his eyes resting somewhere near my collarbone. I'm fine. You can all go on your way. Forget you even saw me here. That's absurd. You have no way to defend yourself. We can't leave you. Yes, I'm sure in your eyes. I'm sure in your eyes I might not seem like much, but that's not exactly a fair shake. Maybe in a perfect world every man would be as large as you, but that's not how things go. It doesn't mean I'm defenseless. The man's response is meandering. That's the word, yeah. The words themselves seem to be in good jest, but he's barely looking at us, fidgeting with his hands. Bemel frowns, unimpressed. It was a joke. He smiles hesitantly, making eye contact with each of us for the first time. What part of this, of what's supposed to be a joke? Do you even realize what's happening this moment? Never mind, forget that too. Point is, I'm alright. You were curled up in a ball when we met. Exactly. Something must be wrong with you. Yes, but don't point it out, that's rude. Oh no, sounds like you've been talking with my father. He lets out a weak little laugh, coupled with an eyebrow raise, voice trembling. No one really knows what to make of this. The man gives a small wave and begins down the path we came. Bemel huffs, tossing his hands into the air. That's not even the right way. It could be if he's trying to get to the side where we came from. He must have come quite a ways for it to... He must have come quite a ways if it was the other shore that he started on. The man's smile grows. Good, that's not so bad. There's no response to this remark, unsure of what could be said. I think you should come with us. A person still needs a light, and the guide himself said he won't be able to manage on his own. Sticking with us is his best option. Oh my god. I'm gonna take a sip of water and hopefully I won't be tongue-tied anymore. I look over the man's body, noting the scrawniness of his limbs. Scrawny, but not necessarily lacking in muscle. The bravado he was showing as he tried to leave us has faded yet again. Now he's standing quietly, watching us, as if watching a play. Interest, but no true connection to the events. It's easy for you to say such things, but whose light are you offering? It's not mine, and you're putting her in even more danger with your presence already. Bemel looks at Margaret. She avoids his gaze. Perhaps I should let him share my light before. But the guide... I could have let him share my light before, but the guide said the one with him had to remain behind, and I simply wouldn't be able to manage it. Bemel's hands turns into fists. He looks away and doesn't say anything. For a moment, no one does. I feel a cold sweat on my brow as what I feared come to pass. He's stopping us from protecting another. Why must he get involved now? Why can he not leave to make our own decisions? You don't worry about me. I'll be on my way now. The man's voice is full of something I cannot place, and he starts to shuffle back down the way we came, arms still clenched around himself. Margaret may not be able to take him, but there's another way this could be solved. I could stay back with him. I'll put Bemel and myself significantly more at risk, but at least this man will stand a chance. Yes! This is gonna bite me in the ass. This is such a terrible idea. Don't play sentimental, you did something sweet music. I'm killing someone right now. And you know it, game. I straighten out my arm like a rod, blocking his progress past me. He stops, perplexed. I'm not afraid to stay behind as long as Bemel can remain up front with you in your light. The guide doesn't say anything, doesn't even blink. Margaret covers her mouth with her hand, muffling some sort of gasp. Bemel smiled sadly at me. One can always count on you, Kicker. The man, meanwhile, stands with his mouth agape, truly and genuinely shocked. Well, what will it be? Margaret sputters for a second, searching for words, but clearly unaware of what to say. Bemel chimes in before she can get anything audible out. I can stay in between you and the guide. I don't need to be right next to either of you. That way you won't have to worry about a repeat of what happened earlier. I wouldn't refuse you being here. The guide doesn't acknowledge them. He stares at the stranger. The man shakes under the attention. No, really, I can just go on my own. It's fine. I step closer to him, lending the support he seems to desperately need. You do not need to do this alone. I will protect you. The man stares at me. I return his gaze, willing him to see my certainty. There need be no blood spilled tonight. The fear slowly melts off his face, replaced with something like resignation. Then he drops his gaze to the floor. I think every single person in this party, including me, just fell really hard for Kika right now. Holy shit, she's amazing. God. Like, if she was the romanceable option in this game, she would be my first choice. Jesus, she's so cool. Okay. Okay. Alright. I grasp his shoulder and turn to the rest of the group. You should get a head start, correct? You'll have to put some distance between us. No, we don't have to do that. Yes, we do. Unnervingly, there's a hint of emotion in the guide's usually empty voice. Anger. He starts to walk, not waiting for a reply. Well, you're rude. Margaret grits her teeth, eyes filling with tears, face flushed. She mumbles something in a small voice, something I'm not near enough to hear. Why am I always so powerless? The statement catches me off guard. Margaret, powerless. She's not a mercenary to be sure, but she seems so certain of herself. Then again, I don't know the reason why she needs to cross this lake. Before I can decide whether I should respond, the tears fade from her eyes. Margaret takes a deep breath. Please be careful. She takes a few steps back, lingering near enough for Bemel. Bemel smiles, first at the stranger, then at me. Take care back there, alright? We'll all be together again when we reach the halfway island. It won't be much longer now. We'll even have a nice little camp out. You can probably introduce yourself to us. Maybe even tell a real joke or two. The man emits a nervous little laugh and ducks his head. The prospect must not be enticing to him. With the stranger having pulled himself out of the conversation, Bemel looks seriously at me. I'm sorry to put you in even more... Stop. Bemel shakes his head, still smiling. I don't begrudge you at all. In fact, I'm glad you did. All I want is for you to remember that gold, each of us together on the island, and then on the other shore, safe. This isn't about what our job is, where other people need us to be. I nod in response. Bemel opens his mouth, then closes it. He swallows hard. You two... I'm surprised to hear his voice wavering slightly. He swallows again, then continues. You two should look out for each other. He takes a few steps back, as if to go, but his eyes doesn't leave mine. He hesitates for a moment, then he crosses back to me and puts a hand on my shoulder. He smiles at me, a smile full of pride and nervousness and fear. I smile back, doing my best to communicate my gratitude and my resolve. I can't tell whether he understands. He softly glides his hand down the width of my arm before going away for good. Duh. Then he takes his position ahead of Margaret, and now he's going to die. Because of what I did. It's my fault. It's all my fault. Watch out for yourself too, not just everyone else. I will. The guide's figure disappears, with only his lantern to lead the way. Mel and Margaret are finally forced to leave us behind and catch up with him. I watch them disappear into the fog, an odd feeling in the pit of my stomach. I cannot recall the last time I had difficulty seeing someone leave. You should go after them. I start. I almost forgot the man was here, standing right next to me. Now he looks at me with desperate eyes. You don't need to do this. What? I'd rather know you returned to them safe, and that you had a chance to make it back together. The way they acted having to go on without you. No one would feel that way about me. I'm not worth it. That's not... I stop, unable to say the last word. Can I claim he's wrong? He's the one thing. This is the one thing he had seemed sure of, and I do not know him. Empty platitudes may be worse than nothing at all. He smirks at my mumbling reply. I'm caught off guard by the change. With only that, it seems he's in his element. It's true. He continues to grin, more so to himself. You lot certainly made a scene, huh? That's nice being loved and all. Oh god. I just left beautiful Margaret and beautiful Bemel for dude angst here. Great. Yay, being a moral person, I guess, wanting to save lives. This is what I end up with. Great. I have literally zero interest in this person. I just don't want him to die. He clarifies after I must have given an undecided reaction to the statement. I'm so disconnected with myself, I'm unsure if surprise appeared on my face, or if it was the lack of emotion that put him off. I don't know exactly what kind of love it is you share, but there has to be a bond in that group of yours. I mean, especially with the big one. You wouldn't look at anyone like that. He laughs, then speaks quietly. It doesn't matter. I can still try and go to the other shore. Go. Fuck you. My certainty shocks him. I can tell immediately he has returned to his meeker self. The man starts to speak again, but I interrupt. We should start walking. That should be enough of a head start for them. He hesitates a moment, but ultimately begins walking at my side. I'm relieved. I can never be quite sure what will come from this one. We move in silence. This man doesn't seem to want to speak anymore, but he keeps glancing at me as if expecting something. Excuse me. Somehow his odd behavior is comforting rather than disconcerting. Perhaps it's because he's more nervous about this than about all this than I am. It's putting me at ease, making me feel more capable. I shouldn't allow myself to get comfortable, however. We're in a more dangerous position than ever. Whispering from the lake, so faint after Bemel's close call, now surges forth. It grows nigh unbearable. The creatures teeming below the surface. I dare not speculate on what has them so excited. Have you a name? The man chuckles dryly. Barely. I don't really know what I'm to take from that. This time his laugh is more of a bark, quickly out and swallowed back up. Then he frowns. Lou, only 2 letters, so barely. I see. I hate this guy. Why am I stuck with this guy? Angst Mickey, come on, let's go. What are you doing here without a guide? Perhaps the question isn't appropriate to ask. After all, only the darkest of circumstances spurs someone to cross sinless. But the situation is very strange. I might even go so far to say it's suspicious. I know that's not fair, but I can't help it. Years spent anticipating danger has made me wary. That's a good question. I'm not sure I know myself. What does that mean? Is that some sort of joke too, or do you generally not remember how you arrived where you are? No, it wasn't a joke, or, well, there is a point to it all. Then his voice, already by nature light and airy, drops to a whisper. Excuse me. But I don't know why I even tried. You'd think I'd be able to call a spade already, right? He looks up, noticing my gaze still leveled at him. He then shrugs. I'd rather not talk about it. As what has become the norm, I don't fully understand what he means, but I can at least guess that he's not very happy with himself at the present. And like it or not, he won't be sharing his real reasons with me. What about you? What brings you out on this little adventure? People on the other side. People who need my help. You have someone waiting on you. Then why are you risking yourself on me instead of worrying what's going to happen to them? I feel my brows furrow from my speck of alarm. Is that really what he took from this? I survey his face with a flick of my eyes, but there's no mischievous gleam to his look now. He's serious. We hold eye contact for a moment, until he yet again stares down at the ground. Sorry, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. It just fell out somehow. I wasn't thinking. I'm saving you, but I'm not liking you. I focus on the boards ahead of us, not allowing the comment to make me second-guess myself. Honestly, I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. It's fine. The 2 simple words caused the uncertainty to fall from his face and the growing tension to dissipate. He too watches the guide's lantern floating ahead. Oh, you can actually see it. That's cute. I love the little details like that. Now, obviously, I know that's not something that, that's a hard thing to do, but, you know what would really benefit the atmosphere of this game? Slightly animated backgrounds. It doesn't even have to be, the most fluid or anything like that. These backgrounds can look a lot like the backgrounds that are used in Ebon Light, and, the animation in those aren't fluid, but it's just enough to give, a little bit of movement. Maybe, dust particles that are already there, here and here and here. Maybe, making them move a little or something like that, and, and like maybe like tiny eruptions of stuff in the water. I think that might look really cool. Or like the light flickering ahead. That might just like give it that extra push. I don't know. It's just, though that is really hard to achieve, I know. It's just like, because like it all blends so well with the light and the sprites and the art. You can see that if not made by the same artist, it's definitely have some sort of like a lot of influence, because it like has the same feeling, so it works together. Sometimes backgrounds and sprites and CGs, if they're made by all different artists, it can get disconnect sometimes, even though obviously sometimes that's necessary. Like when I make visual novels, I usually don't have the budget at all for the same background sprite and CG artist, right? So like you just gotta take what you get, right? But still, it makes it all look really good. Like, it's a very pleasing to the eye game. I just think a little bit of the animation thing would just push it that step further into making it even better. Anyway, rambling over. For a time, there's a relative peace in the silence between us. Then Lou sighs heavily. I never could have seen myself in a situation like this. It seems things aren't really over until they're over. Did you think it was over? He doesn't answer immediately. When he does, the replies is accompanied by him grasping himself like he might fall apart if he lets go. Yeah, I did. That would have been the normal outcome for his situation. Alone, lightless. I shouldn't have asked. I must have let a frown slip through, because Lou smiles a non-smile. He stretches his hand behind his neck, gives a little chuckle. Something is really wrong with me. Somehow, I feel lighter. I wonder who will be left standing when this truly is all over. What? Everyone will be, I say firmly to end the discussion, but Lou's expression grows grave and unusually sympathetic. You know that's not possible, don't you? Someone will go. You should focus on making sure it's someone else. You don't seem to be concerned with self-preservation. That came out more hostile than I expected. He doesn't mind it. True, but it's not the same for me. I still don't know how I'm supposed to interact with a person like him. Making conversation is already not a strength I possess. Regardless, Lou echoing that sentiment was not something I expected. The whispers from the lake, which has already grown, now speak faster and clearer. The individual words are almost audible, like I'd been able to make them out if I knew the next language. For a split second, I wish I did. The light in the distance still drifting along the same manner as it did when we first started walking, which I take to mean the path hasn't turned so far. Hopefully that means we're still on the right path. But the light, it got brighter? It's strong enough that I have to glance away for a second. Then I look. The next time I look, the light has grown. How? Who dropped the lantern? If it was Margaret, like, she's getting blacklisted. The bridge is on fire. I grab Lou's arm without thinking. He's standing there, stiff, staring at the glow, eyes dull. We're going to run. To hell with the guide's order. If we don't go now, we'll never go anywhere again. Lou doesn't respond. I give his arm a small tug, and he appears to come to himself when he nods at me. I make the decision then that I won't let go of his arm. I don't know what'll happen if I do. We take off, the heat growing with each step. The dankness of the bridge means the fire is spreading slowly, but that makes me question how it began in the first place. There's no end to how wrong this place is. It takes 20 paces before the air around us ripples and starts folding into itself. Thick smoke pours over us, stinging like scorpions at my eyes. I cover my mouth with my free arm to keep breathing, and soon we're at the fire itself. The bridge lurches beneath us as if the beams supporting it are starting to give to the thousands of flying sparks. Lou stumbles and pulls me against me for support, but we keep our ground. I start pulling him through the haze. We don't have time to gather our bearings. Who knows how long we have until the bridge collapses or is devoured by flames. After we push through the smoke, Lou wheezing for breath beside me, figures emerge, Bemel and Margaret. Ooh, cool picture. I look at the two, at the situation around them, baffled. None of the individual pieces make any sense until the reality hits me all at once. The guide is gone. Margaret paused at the bridge. Her lantern is at our side. Okay, so it wasn't her. It's her glasses she's missing. Bemel is off to the other side, lanternless, with only the flickering embers in the wind to keep him out of darkness. I want to pretend that they're both fine, that they'll be capable of handling themselves, but I know that's just wishful thinking. Both of them are in danger. I have to choose between Bemel and Margaret. This is a problem. Because morally, it'd probably be I should save Margaret, because like she's a civilian. And it's obvious she does not have the same capabilities that Bemel and Kika has, and they were very well aware of the danger, I guess. But Margaret is, like, defenseless. But, on the other hand, I'm kind of trying to smooch Bemel, so letting him die kind of gets in the way of that. A little bit. I don't know how the Nick's Eye feel about fire, how daring they'll be with it so close by. I love the CGs, I love the style, it's so nice, I love how rough it is. How daring they'll be with it so close by, but I can't assume this is an opportunity they would want to miss. I have to do something, and I have to do it now. Okay, it just chooses for me. Well, that's great, I guess. I waste not a moment more, rushing to Bemel, Lou and Tao. Bemel and I arrived here together. We agreed to see it through to the end. We promised to protect each other. I have to be there for him. When I reach his side and illuminate his face with my lantern, he's beaming. I'm sure some part of him thought that when we parted, it may have been for good. It's a relief to see you. Both of you. Then there's a scream. Oh, well. Margaret is nowhere to be seen. The light of her lantern is gone. She's trapped in the darkness. You really can't save everyone. I know I knew that, but I thought it was going so well. I thought maybe I could have. Margaret? Did she move? Did she fall? Did the bridge collapse? Kika! I hear her and turn in her direction. There, through the smoke. I see her looking up at me. She's trying to stand, but she's struggling for some reason. Then I see a gleam of white and slick black behind her. I understand why. I'm gonna save Scum, even though she doesn't have a chance. Maybe she does. Maybe I can still save her. I don't think I can. Run! Nyx grabs hold of Margaret's dress just as she gets to her feet. It pulls. She smacks back to the ground, head hitting the bridge with a sickening thud. Margaret groans and starts to yell. Let me go! Let go! She's flailing, kicking her legs and arms. She's disoriented. She doesn't know where it's coming from. The Nyx yaks her again. Another grabs hold, and she feels the tug enough to grab onto the portion of her dress and tear it. She's trying to rip it off. I run to her side, my light finally illuminating her form. Seeing the light spill onto her, the Nyx retreat back into the water, but they don't let go of her dress. Margaret screams, being dragged across the bridge. She digs her nails into the wood to stop herself, hands bleeding, but each soggy hold she finds slips through her grasp. I reach out my hand to her. Grab it! Margaret looks at me, kicking again with her leg. She doesn't even try to reach for me. She knows it's not going to fix this. Then she disappears. There's a quiet splash. No! I rush to the edge of the bridge, searching for the water from sign for her, but there's nothing. Nothing but the placid black sheen of the lake. They took her down there with the rest of them. Tears burn my eyes. Achievement unlocked, Inevitability. Ugh. I'm sorry, Margaret. None of this should have happened. Then a warm hand clasps my shoulder. But Mel, he smiles through a pained expression. I stare at him and can barely keep myself together. What happened to the guide? Is he also... My voice cracks in spite of myself. I don't know that I want to hear the answer, but it has to be said. No, that man's still slinking around this hell on earth. The bridge jerked, Margaret's glasses filled off. The guide kept going. I stayed, but I kept my distance in case... He looks away. In case there was a repeat of last time. I shouldn't have stayed so far off. It's not your fault. I could have thrown my lantern, or gone to her sooner, or anything. Kika. I'm furious with myself. It's our fault Margaret was put in danger in the first place. Margaret didn't get to choose whether Lou came either. I made that call. So, I guess it's my fault. Yeah, definitely because I chose that Lou should come along. Oh, I liked Margaret so much more than Lou, but it's kind of a principle, you know? You just kind of have to save people. When, like, Alright. Let's just keep going. It's obvious that one person had to die and just sad it had to be Margaret. I'm sad. This game has made me sad. Like, sounds terrible. Much rather it was like Lou or the guide. But like, it's obviously also like if I hadn't saved Lou, but like, it's a principle, right? Because like, you couldn't have known this would happen, but you were sure that Lou would die if you didn't take him with us, right? So it's an actual choice. Ugh, whatever. She was so kind to us, and yet, when the choice had to be made, I threw her to the side. Bemel seems to have read my mind and comforts me over thoughts I leave unsaid. Listen to me. We tried. You never gave up on anyone, not for a second. He puts a second hand on my shoulder and my other shoulder and resists the urge to embrace me fully. The bridge trembles underneath us once more. I gather what wits I have at my disposal. We need to leave. Which way did the guide go? I don't know for sure, though he went off in that direction. The fog overtook him, but I didn't see him turn. That will work. Lou? I look around for him, realizing that he's not with me any longer. Oh god, did we lose Lou too? Was it really all for fucking nothing? At some point, I let go of his arm. Nope, he's here. Angst McGee, good to see you. He's standing off to the side, gaze glazed, transfixed in the darkness. He's completely unaware. Oh god, we only have one lantern and 3 of us. That's a terrible fucking thing. Okay. He seems completely unaware of everything that's happened. The fire, the Nick's eye, the death. I step forward and yank him back to my side. What are you doing? He flinches at the unexpected contact and looks attentively to me, but doesn't bother with an explanation. I'm sorry. That's all he ever says. I let go of him. Both of you stay close. We are not going to separate again. We keep down the path, the flames still gradually gnawing on the planks behind us. How did the fire start? That's not going to be explained? Alright. The guide doesn't turn up, nor do any signs of him, but we push on. We will not stop moving. Then we do. The bridge comes to a dead end of rotted boards collapsed in the lake. For a moment our breathing stops at once. If this was the way to the island, then... I flip back to face the others, my expression unaffected. I'm not going to allow panic to sap this group of judgment. Let's look for another branch. I resolutely begin retracing our steps. The others follow without protest. Our regression is silent, except for our footfalls and the snapping of soggy wood, attempting to burn. Oh, the fire's following you. Shit. We frequently have to step over smoldering sections trying to come alight. At one point, we have to walk one at a time, sideways to avoid a wildly flickering small fire billowing out black smoke. Just as my spirit begins to dim, we come across a different direction to take. Among all the other forks, there are only 2 that aren't collapsed or too consumed to fire to risk following. We're going to have to pick one. Bamil sounds uncharacteristically doubtful of himself. Lou's gaze is flickering down either path. There's a palpable sense of anxiety coming from him. I don't know which way. It's alright. But it's not alright. We have to have something to go on. Anything at all. A cold sweat trickles down on my back. Before anyone tries to randomly choose, a noise catches my attention. I hastily address the two. Did you hear that? A whistle. It came from the right. Lou and I trade looks. This could be the signal we need. But what if it isn't? Do those monsters know how to whistle? I don't know. It seems unlikely. The air isn't pleasant to them. They're underwater creatures. We should go right, I think, to where the sound came from. I'm a little surprised Lou is offering his opinion. It's good to hear, however. I take a deep breath. I agree. There's more of a chance the whistle was assigned for good over ill. Which Corey's decided we move as one down the right path, no longer hesitating. As we follow the bridge down, there's no sign of the end. There's no need to debate between directions again. Need to drink so my voice doesn't bust. We need to outpace the fire, one danger thankfully fading away. We start to but the night continues to lighten regardless. I glance at the sky and realize what happens. Oh shit, I forgot about that. The sun is rising, the bridges will sink into the water as the darkness disappears and take us with them. We'll be lost. It suddenly seems pointless. We don't even know if we're going the right way, and we still haven't caught up to the guide. We can't outswim the Nixine, we can't outrun the dawn. We're going to run out of time. Yet we keep moving forward. And finally our perseverance is rewarded. The silhouette of an island raises up in the distance. The island grows rapidly larger, and soon the sense of earth and trees reaches. In spite of all of the horrors of this night, a dock emerges from the fog before us, welcoming us to safety. Alright. Jesus. This game is way too intense. This is way too intense. I can't deal with it. I need something more calm. Whew, okay. So, we lost Margaret. Maybe we wouldn't have if we didn't take Lou with us, but no, I can't. I have to take Lou with us. Like, it's a sense of like morality, right? Because like we couldn't be sure whether or not, like, sure, it did make the danger for Bamel and Margaret bigger, but it didn't, like, there was nothing that was certain there. But it would be certain if we left that guy Lou alone, he would die, right? That was almost like a 100% certainty with the information we know about Light and stuff. So like, I'm not gonna change that, though I know that me and Margaret would survive, and I like Margaret far better than I like Lou, but it's still, like, it's a question of, like, it's not a question of, like, how the game works, but more like how people work, right? I'm not gonna change that. It sucks. It really sucks. I thought I could save them all, even though it was inevitable. How could I have saved everybody? I'm just trying to think. Is there any way I could have done that? I don't think so. Maybe if I was on Margaret's path. No, I couldn't. I don't think there's any way, but still, it sucks. I thought I could do it. It was going well for a while there. Alright. Well, I had to save Scum and go back for Margaret that one time, but I did still save her, so it counts. Anyway, I'm gonna end the episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for the next one. Elborn Light will be there. I have found the game, and I've played up until where the last part ended, and I'm gonna go through the next part at some point. I may wait until the full game comes out, because it's like 95% done, so like there's so little left, so it might just be worth it to wait for the beta to end, to like for all of the like kicks to go out and everything, it might be really nice. Also, so I don't have to be met with a cliffhanger suddenly in it. So that might be nice. Other than that, I will be back in this game, obviously. I'm not sure when. I might play something in between just to calm everything down. Who knows? Alright, thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you in the next episode, or whatever I make. Bye!